Once, in the quiet town of Willowbrook, nestled among the whispering pines and rolling hills, stood an old, imposing building, Willowbrook High School. It had seen generations of students pass through its halls, but there was something eerie about its atmosphere, something that whispered of secrets long buried. Legend had it that the school was built upon the site of an ancient burial ground, and that restless spirits still roamed its corridors. Many dismissed the tales as mere superstition, but others couldn't shake the feeling of unease that settled upon them whenever they stepped foot inside. Among the students of Willowbrook High was a group of friends, Emily, Alex, Sarah, and Jake. They were inseparable, bound together by their shared love of adventure and thrill-seeking. It was their daring nature that led them to delve deeper into the mysteries of their school, to uncover the truth behind its haunted reputation. One cold autumn evening, as the last rays of sunlight faded from the sky, the friends gathered in the school library, their faces illuminated by the flickering glow of candlelight. "Have you guys heard the rumors about the old abandoned wing of the school?" Emily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Alex nodded, a mischievous glint in his eyes. "They say it's haunted by the spirits of those who died here long ago." Sarah shivered, pulling her sweater tighter around her. "I don't know about you guys, but I'm not sure I want to find out if it's true." But Jake, ever the skeptic, scoffed. "Come on, Sarah, don't tell me you believe in ghosts. It's probably just some old janitor trying to scare kids away from exploring where they shouldn't." With a mixture of excitement and trepidation, the friends made a pact to venture into the abandoned wing of the school that very night, determined to uncover the truth once and for all. As they crept through the darkened hallways, the air grew thick with tension, each creak of the floorboards sending shivers down their spines. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling like ghostly veils, and the faint echo of their footsteps seemed to be swallowed by the shadows. Finally, they reached the entrance to the abandoned wing, a heavy wooden door covered in layers of peeling paint. With trembling hands, Alex pushed it open, revealing a scene straight out of a nightmare. The air was thick with dust and decay, and the walls were lined with rows of empty lockers, their doors hanging open like gaping maws. The floor was littered with broken glass and debris, and the faint scent of mildew hung in the air. But it was what lay at the end of the hallway that truly sent chills down their spines. A flight of stairs leading down into darkness, their steps worn and uneven with age. "We shouldn't be here," Sarah whispered, her voice barely audible over the sound of their pounding hearts. But Emily was undeterred, her eyes shining with excitement. "We've come this far, we can't turn back now." With a sense of dread hanging heavy in the air, they descended into the depths of the abandoned wing, each step echoing ominously in the darkness. As they reached the bottom of the stairs, they were met with a sight that froze them in their tracks. A series of narrow tunnels stretching out before them, disappearing into the blackness beyond. "What is this place?" Jake muttered, his voice barely audible over the sound of their racing hearts. But before anyone could answer, a cold breeze swept through the tunnels, carrying with it the faint sound of whispers. The friends exchanged nervous glances, their fear growing with each passing moment. Determined to press on, they ventured further into the labyrinthine tunnels, their footsteps echoing off the damp walls. But no matter how far they walked, they seemed no closer to finding the answers they sought. It was then that they heard it, a low, guttural growl echoing from the darkness ahead. They froze, their hearts pounding in their chests as they strained to listen. "What was that?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling with fear. But before anyone could respond, a figure emerged from the shadows, a hulking mass of darkness, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. With a scream of terror, the friends turned and ran, their footsteps echoing off the walls as they fled deeper into the tunnels. But no matter how fast they ran, the creature seemed to be gaining on them, its growls growing louder with each passing moment. Just when they thought they couldn't run any further, they stumbled upon a door, old and rusted, its surface covered in strange symbols. With no other options left, they pushed open the door and stepped inside, slamming it shut behind them. The room was small and cramped, its walls lined with shelves stacked high with dusty tomes. But as they caught their breath, they realized they were not alone. A figure stood in the corner, its eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. With a sinking feeling in the pit of their stomachs, they realized the truth. They had stumbled upon the resting place of the spirits that haunted Willowbrook High. As the figure advanced towards them, its form shifting and changing with each step, the friends huddled together in fear, knowing that their fate was sealed. But just as all hope seemed lost, a voice echoed through the darkness, a voice they recognized all too well. Emily. Alex? Sarah? Jake? Is that you? With a sense of disbelief, they turned to see their classmates standing in the doorway, their faces pale with fear. We heard screaming and we followed it down here, one of them explained, his voice trembling with fear. With a sense of relief washing over them, the friends realized that they were not alone after all. Together, they ventured back into the tunnels, their footsteps echoing off the walls as they made their way back to the surface. As they emerged into the light of the moon, they knew that they would never forget the horrors they had witnessed that night. But they also knew that they had faced their fears together, and that was what mattered most. And as they made their way back to the safety of their homes, they knew that the legends of Willowbrook High would live on, but they also knew that they would always be there to face whatever darkness lurked within. In the small town of Greenwood, nestled amidst dense forests and rolling hills, stood Greenwood High School. With its towering brick walls and creaky corridors, the school had been a witness to countless stories, both mundane and extraordinary. But among the tales whispered in the shadows, there were those that chilled the spine and quickened the pulse. Tales of eerie occurrences, unexplained phenomena, and restless spirits that roamed the halls. It was the beginning of another school year, and as the leaves turned crimson and gold, a sense of unease settled over Greenwood High. Students whispered about strange happenings, rumors of ghostly sightings, and inexplicable noises echoing through the empty corridors long after the last bell had rung. Among the students caught in the grip of fear was Emily, a timid sophomore with a penchant for the paranormal. She had always been drawn to stories of ghosts and hauntings, but nothing could have prepared her for what awaited her at Greenwood High. One chilly October evening, Emily found herself lingering in the school library, poring over dusty tomes on the occult. As the hours passed and the shadows deepened, she became aware of a faint whispering in the air, a sound so soft and insidious that it sent shivers down her spine. Curiosity getting the better of her, Emily followed the sound, her footsteps echoing in the empty halls. The whispering grew louder, more urgent, leading her deeper into the heart of the school. Finally, she found herself standing outside the closed door of the abandoned music room, a place rumored to be haunted by the ghost of a former student. Heart-pounding, Emily pushed open the door and stepped inside. The room was bathed in an eerie half-light, the air thick with the scent of old wood and decay. And there, standing in the center of the room, was a figure shrouded in darkness, a figure that seemed to flicker and fade like a ghostly apparition. Emily's breath caught in her throat as she watched the figure draw closer, its movements jerky and unnatural. With a sinking feeling in the pit of her stomach, she realized that she was not alone, that whatever lurked in the shadows was very real and very much aware of her presence. As if sensing her fear, the figure let out a low, guttural moan, a sound that sent a chill down Emily's spine. She tried to turn and run, but her legs refused to move, rooted to the spot as if held in place by an unseen force. Just as the figure reached out a spectral hand towards her, a sudden burst of light flooded the room, banishing the darkness and revealing the truth behind the haunting of Greenwood High. For standing before Emily was not a ghost, but a girl with hollow eyes and a gaunt, pallid face, her skin stretched tight over bone. It was a sight that filled Emily with horror and disbelief, for the girl standing before her was none other than Lily Turner, a student who had vanished without a trace from Greenwood High just 1 year ago. With trembling hands, Emily reached out to touch the girl, half expecting her to vanish into thin air. But to her astonishment, Lily was real, her flesh cold and clammy to the touch. As the truth began to dawn on her, Emily realized that Lily was no ghost, but a victim of some unspeakable horror that lurked within the walls of Greenwood High. And she was not alone, for there were others who had suffered the same fate, their spirits trapped in a never-ending nightmare from which there was no escape. Determined to uncover the truth, Emily delved deeper into the mysteries of Greenwood High, uncovering a tangled web of lies, deceit, and betrayal that stretched back decades. She learned of a secret society that had once thrived within the school, its members dabbling in dark arts and forbidden rituals in their quest for power and immortality. But as Emily soon discovered, some secrets were never meant to be uncovered, and those who dared to delve too deep risked awakening forces beyond their control. Forces that hungered for blood and vengeance, their wrath unleashed upon any who dared to stand in their way. As the days turned into weeks, Emily found herself drawn deeper into the darkness, her once simple quest for answers now a desperate struggle for survival. With each passing day, the shadows grew darker, the whispers more sinister, until she could no longer tell friend from foe, reality from nightmare. But just when all hope seemed lost, Emily stumbled upon a clue that would lead her to the heart of the mystery and the shocking truth behind the haunting of Greenwood High. For hidden beneath the school, buried deep within its labyrinthine tunnels, lay the key to unlocking the secrets of the past, a forgotten chamber, its walls adorned with ancient symbols and arcane sigils. And there, at the center of it all, stood a figure cloaked in darkness, its eyes burning with a malevolent light. It was the source of all the horror that had plagued Greenwood High, the embodiment of evil itself, a being that had been awakened from its slumber by Emily's relentless pursuit of the truth. With a chilling laugh, the figure reached out a hand towards Emily, its touch sending tendrils of ice creeping through her veins. But even as the darkness closed in around her, Emily refused to give up hope, her spirit burning bright against the encroaching shadows. With a cry of defiance, she unleashed a burst of energy, channeling the power of the ancient symbols that adorned the chamber walls. The air crackled with electricity as the darkness recoiled, its form twisting and writhing in agony as it was banished back to the depths from whence it came. And as the last echoes of the struggle faded away, Emily knew that the nightmare was finally over, that Greenwood High would be haunted no more. But as she made her way out of the abandoned chamber, a sense of unease lingered in the air, a feeling that the darkness had not been fully vanquished, that it lay in wait, biding its time until the next unwitting soul stumbled upon its lair. And so, as the days turned into months and the months into years, the legend of Greenwood High lived on, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones, a reminder of the horrors that lurked just beyond the edge of sight. For even now, as students come and go, and life returns to normal once more, the shadows still dance in the corners of the school halls, and the echoes of the past refuse to be silenced. And somewhere in the depths of Greenwood High, the darkness waits, patient and hungry, for It was a chilly October evening when the students of St. Jude's High School gathered around the bonfire, exchanging tales of horror and mystery. Among them was Lily, a timid but curious sophomore who always had a fascination with the supernatural. As the fire crackled and the shadows danced around them, one of the seniors, Jake, began to recount a story that sent shivers down everyone's spines. Legend has it, Jake began, his voice low and ominous, that St. Jude's High School is haunted by the ghost of a former student who died under mysterious circumstances many years ago. The group leaned in closer, captivated by Jake's tale. Her name was Emily, Jake continued. She was a brilliant student, but she had a dark secret. Rumor has it that she was involved in a forbidden romance with one of the teachers, a scandal that ended in tragedy. Lily felt a chill run down her spine as she listened intently. She had heard whispers of Emily's ghost before, but she had never heard the full story. It is said that Emily's spirit still roams the halls of St. Jude's, seeking revenge on those who wronged her, Jake said, his voice filled with dread. As the night wore on, Lily couldn't shake the feeling of unease that settled over her. She couldn't help but wonder if there was any truth to Jake's story. The next day, Lily found herself lingering in the school library, poring over old yearbooks in search of any mention of Emily. She was so engrossed in her search that she didn't notice the librarian approaching until she spoke. "Looking for something, dear?" the librarian asked, her voice sending a shiver down Lily's spine. Yeah," Lily stammered. "I'm trying to find information about a former student named Emily. Do you know anything about her?" The librarian's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, Lily thought she saw a flicker of fear in them. "Emily," the librarian said softly. "Yes, I remember her. She was a brilliant student, but troubled. She died tragically many years ago." Lily's heart pounded in her chest as she listened to the librarian's words. "Do you think her ghost still haunts the school?" Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The librarian's expression darkened, and she shook her head. "I wouldn't go looking for trouble if I were you, dear," she said cryptically before turning and walking away. Lily couldn't shake the feeling of unease that settled over her as she left the library. She couldn't help but wonder what secret St. Jude's High School held and if Emily's ghost truly walked its halls. As the days passed, strange things began to happen at St. Jude's. Students reported hearing strange noises in the dead of night, and some claimed to have seen a figure lurking in the shadows. Lily tried to brush off the rumors, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister was at play. One night, unable to sleep, Lily found herself wandering the empty halls of St. Jude's. As she turned a corner, she froze in terror. Standing before her was a figure shrouded in darkness, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Lily wanted to run, but fear rooted her to the spot. She watched in horror as the figure slowly raised a hand and pointed a finger at her. And then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, it vanished into thin air. Heart-pounding, Lily raced back to her dorm room, where she huddled under the covers until morning, too afraid to sleep. The next day, Lily couldn't shake the feeling of dread that hung over her like a dark cloud. She tried to focus on her classes, but her mind kept wandering back to the ghostly figure she had seen the night before. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and darkness descended upon St. Jude's, Lily found herself drawn once again to the library. She needed answers, and she was determined to find them, no matter the cost. As she pored over old yearbooks and newspaper clippings, she stumbled upon an article that sent chills down her spine. It was a story about Emily, the former student who had died under mysterious circumstances all those years ago. According to the article, Emily had been involved in a forbidden romance with one of the teachers, a scandal that had rocked the school to its core. But what shocked Lily the most was the revelation that Emily had been pregnant at the time of her death. As she read on, Lily's blood ran cold. The article detailed how Emily's body had been found in the school's abandoned basement. Her death ruled a suicide. But there were whispers of foul play, of a cover-up orchestrated by those in power to protect their own reputations. As Lily sat in stunned silence, she heard a sound behind her. She turned to see the librarian standing in the doorway, her eyes filled with sorrow. "I see you've uncovered the truth," the librarian said quietly, "but there is more to the story than you know." Lily listened as the librarian revealed the full extent of Emily's tragic tale. She learned of the teacher who had seduced and betrayed her, of the classmates who had bullied her mercilessly, and of the administration that had turned a blind eye to her suffering. And then, the librarian dropped the bombshell that would change everything. "You see, Emily's spirit still lingers here, seeking justice for the wrongs that were done to her," the librarian said. "And now that you know the truth, she will stop at nothing to ensure that those responsible are held accountable." Lily's heart raced as she realized the danger she was in. She had uncovered secrets that were meant to stay buried, and now she was a target for Emily's vengeful spirit. But Lily refused to be intimidated. Armed with the truth, she set out to confront those responsible for Emily's death and put an end to the haunting of St. Jude's High School once and for all. With the help of her friends, Lily delved deeper into the school's dark past, uncovering evidence of corruption and betrayal at every turn. And as they pieced together the puzzle of Emily's death, they came to realize that the true horror of St. Jude's High School was not the ghost that haunted its halls, but the darkness that lurked within its walls. In the end, Lily and her friends were able to expose the truth and bring justice to Emily's memory. But as they stood together, victorious in their fight against the forces of evil, they couldn't shake the feeling that St. Jude's High School would always be haunted by the echoes of its past. For some secrets are too dark to ever truly be laid to rest, and some ghosts are too vengeful to ever truly